What's up, everybody? It's Graham. Welcome back to the channel, and I'm back with another video. And today, kind of want to get into um, my plans when I retire, which hopefully is just in a few years. Roth is a sophomore now, so I got just a few more years before he graduates high school, and I have no more child support at that point in time. Frees up a little bit more money and been kind of thinking about what I might be doing then. There is a lot of stuff in the news about people moving abroad and uh, leaving the country for different reasons. But let's get into this quick video and discussing some of the reasons, and then we'll talk about it.
Crazy. There's so many Americans fleeing the country and moving abroad. Can you guess how many Americans actually live abroad? Well, according to AARO, there are approximately 5.4 million Americans living abroad in 2023. And it's really not surprising that so many Americans are wanting to leave. I left in 2016 to go move abroad in Spain from LA. And according to Fox, the reason why Americans are moving abroad in such growing numbers is they're seeking relocation for a better life. And also they're trying to avoid all these mass shootings as well as the political concerns that are coming this year. I can, for one, totally resonate with this because I, as a woman, left to go live in Spain because the safety is incredible. There was somebody that moved abroad that said the reason why they moved abroad was because their Boston market had a mass shooting. The other reason why people are moving abroad is because they can keep their costs down in other countries. Portugal, Spain, Italy, France, Costa Rica, Panama, Mexico. Also, people are moving because healthcare costs are so little abroad. Let me tell you what I pay. In Spain, I pay 80 euros. That's like 85, 90 US dollars per month. No co-pays, no deductibles. You have ancestors from any of these countries right here. You could potentially apply for citizenship by descent and become an EU citizen.
So, what do you think about that? Moving abroad. Now, she touched on a few things in this in her video, but she scrolled past quite a few things on there that that then she didn't talk about too much. And that was I'm trying to find this one clip that I thought I had, but I moved it somewhere else. Talking about mass shootings. Well, I mean, I live in Texas, so we're all pretty much strapped. So we're not. I'm not really concerned about that. We've had some in Texas, but it didn't end well for the shooter. So some of the other reasons I know people are lately with the election coming up next week are talking about because of whoever wins the election. You know, I think anybody that says it should just do it. Whether you're a Republican that says if Trump wins, you're leaving, leave. If you're a Democrat, which they seem to say a lot, then they're going to leave. Of course, a lot of them are rich actors and they have the money to leave. And so I know a lot of us as Gen X, as I've talked about in my videos before, we are all kind of, you know, I don't want to use the term suffering because I'm not suffering, but we're all dealing with the same stuff. The housing market, the inflation in our country, the higher gas prices, the higher everything, right? And then you did see in that little article where she kind of stopped, is saying mass immigration, what they need to do, because I think that was what, an ABC article. They needed to put mass illegal immigration in front of that because that's exactly what it is. People aren't fleeing the U.S. because of mass legal immigration. They're fleeing, I guess, is one of the reasons. My reason is for none of those, you know, politically and politically is towards the end. As I've mentioned before in a video with the confirmation bias, that if Trump were to win, I feel, I guess I'll let some stuff out of the bag. I feel because guess what? Trump was president for 4 years before already. And so I can speak on me that my gas was cheaper. My groceries were cheaper. My money went a little bit further and my 401k totally killed it. So if he were to win again, I think that's what we would see happen again. However, the progression of dropping the socialism and communist thoughts into the younger people that are now in their 30s and their 20s, that I call it a mind virus. That mind virus is going to be here for a very long time. And so it's not going away. The thing that I find funny is that these foreign countries, being Gen X, right? We lived during the Cold War, so you had Russia, you had uh, I think was it Czech Republic now, but it was what, Czechoslovakia. You had Romania or Poland, maybe not Romania, but Poland. You had all of these countries that were part of the the Soviet bloc, and they went through communism. So as we get into, we're now 2024, we seem to have a lot of people that are embracing socialism and embracing communism. Now, I will say that, America maybe was a democracy at one point, but it's more of a, I don't know if it's a real term, a socialistic democracy. I mean, as long as the welfare system is as big as it is, that's socialism, and it's been around for a long time. Technically, well, I don't want to say technically, but Social Security retirement is kind of like, a social program. I mean, I go back to old Uncle Ron Paul. I mean, people don't want to admit, but if you don't have a retirement saved, then that's your fault because, people in the 50s and 60s, especially the boomers where their money went a lot further, a lot of them aren't doing well. And it ultimately comes down to you saving for yourself. Social Security was supposed to be an addition to your retirement. And I say retirement, I don't say pensions because very few of those exist anymore, but retirement plans do exist. So it's a matter of those newer countries, are not newer countries, but those countries are now embracing capitalism, which is very similar to what America was like in the 1950s, 40s, and 50s, and got many great decades ahead of them with the policy and what they're doing. I pulled up this other little screenshot. There's a lot of them that all pretty much say the same thing, but when you think about digital nomads, because there are a lot of you might have a professional degree. Those of you that especially have a skill like you're a barber, a cosmetologist, maybe an electrician, a trade, an auto mechanic, those are needed all over the world, and you can get work visas at a lot of these places to go over there. And I even tell my oldest, get the hell out of Dodge when you can, just to live abroad, just to see the world. But I have to give credit to the millennials. It shows here that the biggest gap, or the biggest percentage of digital nomads are millennials at 47%. And I think that's awesome. I don't know, there are some charts as to why they do it. But you see more older millennials now. And then of course you see Gen X people like myself that are doing that and looking into that. And so again, mine's not politically based. It's not based on some of that term woke policies that are going on in America. They're on the list. That's some of the reasons, but it's not my top reasons. And I'll get into that in just a little bit. But if you're new to the channel, what I like to do is read some comments from past videos that I had, give you all a little shout out. And this goes back to the PSA video that I did, and I put a screenshot up. And as always, I will have links in the description to those videos. That way, if you haven't seen them, you can go back and watch them. But this lad said, Gen X here, we had to walk to school. And if there was news of kidnappers in the area, we were just told to walk a different route. So you got to go back and watch the video. But yeah, apparently there was a lot of missing kids back in the day with the kids on the milk cartons, and just kind of talking about how our parents were, whether they just were clueless or they just didn't give a shit. I'm sure it was a little of both. But if there was news of, oh yeah, little Johnny got kidnapped on his way to school that way, they just say, go that way. So I thought that was funny. Probably true. A little sad, but at the same time, funny. So let's get back into what I'm thinking. I started this YouTube channel more as therapy for me. Those of you that have been following me for a while know that I had an accident last year and basically broke my body in half on my pelvis. And then as I was kind of recuperating, I just wanted to get some things off my chest and then started the YouTube channel. And then now that I'm growing the channel and enjoying, doing these videos twice a week, every Wednesday and Sunday, enjoying seeing people that I've seen comment on many of my videos, meaning they're following me and they're engaged in my content. I really do appreciate that. You start to think about, well, in a few years, can I be a digital nomad? Because I'll take responsibility. I don't have a huge retirement set away. I have fallen to the getting the big house in the past and getting the fancy cars in the past and getting a lot of credit card debt in the past, to where I kind of robbed myself a little bit of my future. So I take full responsibility for that. I've rectified that over the last couple of years. Even in this economy, I've still managed to get my credit card debt down to almost zero. I'm just a few months away from that. My cars are paid off, and starting to once the debt's paid off, I will max out my 401k at least over the next 4 years. And so, um, so YouTube will be, had a little brain fart there. So YouTube could help me become a digital nomad, and make some money on it and be able to travel around and see the world, um, that exists out there. Because I might be a United States citizen, but technically we are all global citizens, and it would be nice to go out there and witness some of the wonders of the world that they're just not here in America. We got to go to the old world. So let's start with this video right here. This is something that, and I can confirm from my friend Challenge Jackson, that this is true when it comes to the EU. Now, there's a list of over 2,000 items or more that are banned in the EU that are legal in America that they put in our food. This is just a few.
Are some common health foods that are banned in other countries. 1. American chicken is banned in the European Union because it's washed in chlorine during process. 2. American ground beef is banned because they use a chemical called pink slime that uses ammonia gas, who has antimicrobial properties. It has been proven dangerous for your health and will affect your gut health. 3. Pork is banned because they use a chemical called ractopamine that is added to the animal feed and has been proven to be harmful to your health and is banned in 160 countries in the world except United States. 4. Farm-raised salmon is banned because they use chemicals like metal, mercury, dioxin, and antibiotics. 5. Milk is banned because they use a synthetic growth hormone called grug, made by Monsanto, that has been linked to increased risks in cancer and hormone issues. And 6. Breakfast cereals like Frosted Flakes, Rice Krispies, Honey Bunches of Oats, which have tea that has been linked to cancer, asthma, and behavioral issues in children like lichen.
Kind of crazy, right? So I guess Tony the Tiger there, not great. So again, there's a list of over 2,000 items that are banned in the EU that for whatever reason America allows in the food. I don't wonder, but I make the comment, you wonder why we have an obesity problem in this country. It's because of the shit that they put in the food. And I personally believe that it's by design. So going overseas to travel around, I know I would eat better. I've seen YouTube videos where people are like, yeah, if I would eat bread or pizza or whatever in America, it would bloat me. It would cause a lot of gut issues. And then they go to Italy and they eat the same food in Italy, and they feel fine. Just like there are people that live in Okinawa that eat rice all day long. Well, not all day long, you know what I mean? But they eat rice a lot in their diet. And then they move to America and they get fat eating the same exact thing because it's just not the same. So one benefit as being a 50-year-old that wants to live the last third of his life on my terms and have a good time and witness the world. Because think about this, Gen X. The only time I would say that the internet over time ruined America, right? Because when we were kids, the only thing that we would see about other parts of the world was in National Geographic, right? Whether it was the TV show or the magazine. So we really, we didn't get to know and more. Plus, when we grew up, a lot of Europe was, during the Cold War. So we wouldn't have wanted to go over there anyway. But now entering the age that we're in now, where we can look up videos of people living abroad and the cost of living, it's just absolute insanity, to where now people are seeing that and we're like, why the hell am I paying this much for rent, paying this much for food that's poisoning me, food that's giving me cancer, food that's killing me, when I can go over here and live a lot better for pennies on the dollar. So I'm going to, from this one health one, I'm going to go into this one, and then we'll talk a little bit more.
That you have now in your 20s and 30s is so precious, you just don't realize it. I'm lucky enough to be able to see this. I spend my first 2 hours at work handing out cups, full cups of medications to patients that have chosen to live a sedentary lifestyle. They've chosen to consume alcohol regularly. They've chosen to eat low quality foods, not pay attention to their diet. If you don't take action on your current circumstances right now, in your 20s, in your 30s, before you know it, you're going to wake up one day, you're going to feel like crap, you're going to be extremely unhealthy, and you're going to be forced to take medications that you don't necessarily want to or need to take. This is preventable. You are in control of your diet. You are in control of your lifestyle. You are in control of whether or not you end up in the hospital for chronic conditions that were caused by poor lifestyle management for decades prior. This can be prevented if you take action now.
So he's obviously making this to a younger crowd, but it's the same thing. I like to partake in some alcohol, and but I'm not sedentary. Also, I work out. I don't drink a lot. I'm probably going to scale that down even more. I'm trying to quit caffeine right now too, thanks to Challenge Jackson. He's a YouTuber, got a great channel. I'll put up a screenshot here, and I'll put a link to his channel below. Yeah, it's one of those things to where if you wait until you're 65, it's funny when I go into a Whole Foods and I see very old people in there that are out of shape, legs wrapped up or whatever, that are now looking for that. 50 isn't young, but man, we're not old. So there's more than enough time for you, all Gen X, even the ones that are 59 right now, to go and make changes now that are going to benefit you to live a longer, healthier life. We're already living longer. So do you want to live longer in really bad shape and in pain, or do you want to live longer not in pain, right? So I wanted to throw that in there, that that's a lot of the food that's doing that to us. The fact that we are drinking a lot, we are eating a bunch of shit, and we're not working out. So one of the other reasons why I'm thinking about moving abroad, and you don't necessarily have to become a resident in any of these countries. So anywhere where they have they take an American passport, you can go there. Like I can't go to Romania to become a resident unless it's a work visa. Their immigration is very strict, that you have to either marry a Romanian or you're an EU citizen, and then you can apply and become a resident. Now, for those of you there in that first video, that lady mentioned that there is the ancestral citizenship that you can get through that list of countries. That only goes back to your great grandparents. So if you've got great or great grandparents that came from any of those countries, that's too far back and you don't qualify for that. It has to be. So if you have great grandparents that moved here from like Poland or Russia or wherever, then now you can apply for that citizenship. For me, my mom lives in Ecuador. I know I can become a resident down there pretty easy because I was a resident down there before. But with Eastern Europe, that's mainly where I want to be, is Eastern Europe, not Western Europe. Is I can go to, I can't move to Romania, but I can go there for 90 days and enjoy it. And then when you're there for 90 days, you have to leave and you can't come back, I think, for 6 months. Well, then I can go to Prague, hang out with Challenge Jackson, right? And for 90 days, and I can go to, Poland for 90 days and literally just bounce around every 90 days. Because then by the time I've been out of, when I finish up with either Poland or Czech Republic, it's already been 6 months, and then I can go back to Romania. Or I can go to Ecuador. My mom retired in Ecuador 8 years ago, and she's got 2 more years before she's considered a citizen just by living there. I had bought an apartment down there with my friend, and we had, so their rules were you automatically become a resident if you own property. We bought property, we owned it down there, but then when we sold it, you lose your residency. And I can attest with the first video that woman is talking about that the healthcare is extremely inexpensive. They have 2 different levels of healthcare in Ecuador. They have the shitty one that's for, people that can't afford it. And then they have the really high-end healthcare. And most of those doctors are actually Cubans that are there. And when I say high end, it's American standard healthcare, and then you just pay a little bit more a month for that. It's still a fraction of the cost of what it would be if she lived here. So she lives on Social Security alone, and she lives like a queen down there. Now they are having their own issues right now. I found out that they're having issues with their power plants that apparently were built by China, and now they're breaking. And they had mandatory where they cut her electricity off for 7 hours a day. And I don't know if it's in the whole country or if it's just in Salinas where she lives, and that's what the mayor is doing. I don't know. But then they just upped it a couple days ago to 14 hours a day. So she goes 14 hours a day without electricity. And I'm like, okay, Mom, well, I think now you could say that you live in a third world country if that's the case. So I wouldn't want to buy property down there and then them go through their mismanagement problems to where you can never keep a refrigerator on because your food goes bad. So there are those options to go out and do that, as long as you have some form of a stream of income before you go. My mom went to Ecuador legally. They have a very strict immigration policy, and the stuff that my mom had to go through in order to get there, I lived it. I know. Just like I also co-signed for a Mexican citizen to become an American resident, a U.S. resident, who is now a full-on citizen. So I know the process that it takes. A lot of people talk about that, but I've actually, ponied up and co-signed for somebody to become a legal resident of this country. And there's a lot that you have to consider if something happens. And I did that for him, and now he's, a full-on citizen here in the United States. So yeah, there's options to go a lot of different places around the world. I'd even like to go to Russia, but they're supposed to be bad, right? So I might steer clear of that for a while. But I am going out to Czech Republic next May to spend a couple weeks out there, my wife and I, and hang out with Challenge Jackson. We're going to check some stuff out and just kind of like do a lay of the land and see what's there and what the future may hold for us. But here's another video here of the difference. This one's specifically about the difference between living in Western Europe and Eastern Europe. But I just want you to get the context of kind of how it is and what there is to look forward to. I'm going to keep it muted because he's got it attached to some song that I don't want to get copyright struck on. So you can just watch it while I talk. Superior hospitality, cheaper food, better nightlife, more authentic cultures. That's what I think I want to see. It's more affordable. People are more real. I want to witness different cultures. Nothing wrong. I mean, does America really have a culture? I don't know. We're just a melting pot. But growing up in Texas my whole life, my wives have been Latinas. My children are biracial that way. There's a huge Mexican culture here in Texas, living so close to the border. So it's really the only culture I've ever seen. My ancestry is Czech. It is Polish. It is German, and then Scottish. So I want to be able to go and check out those cultures before I die and experience them and live them for a while and see what it's like. So I'm gonna end off the video with one last comment, and this was the one from I believe it was the Corporate America video. Again, a link in the description. And this one's kind of fitting with today's video. And this individual says, "I am so happy my parents have paid off assets in Africa. America is becoming scary these days." So again, whether or not you have ever thought about this, I would recommend you think about it, because there's just a bigger world out there, right? Same world, but we're exposed to a lot of it nowadays. And I don't know about you, but I want to experience it. There's a lot of reasons, there's a lot of shit happening in our country that I don't like. And I can honestly tell you it's not going to get any better in my lifetime. If anything, it's just going to get worse. And so I don't want to be up all night thinking about politics. I don't want to be up all night thinking about our president or our governor or our citizens. I want to be able to wake up in the morning and just be, right? I want to be present. and I want to experience these different cultures from around the world. But I got to start making plans to do it now. To that way, in a few years, 3 or 4 years down the line, I can make it happen. So, what are your thoughts? Drop a comment. Have you thought about this? Is this something that you've considered? If so, where? Where is it that you would like to go? And as always, if you've stuck around this long, I appreciate that. Consider liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and hit that bell so you can be notified of future videos. And with that said, thank you, and I'll see you on the next video.